3 days before my birthday, I stopped pretending it was coincidence. My phone lit up with my mother's name, and I already knew what she was going to say. Not the exact words, just the outcome. It always ended the same way. "Something came up with your brother," she said, voice tight like she'd rehearsed it. "We might need to reschedule."
Might.
I stared at the half-wrapped box on my kitchen counter. Silver paper. Blue ribbon. I'd picked it myself this year, just to feel like it mattered. "My name is Alara Quinn, and I'm turning 36 on Saturday," I said quietly, more to the empty room than to her. "You've missed the last 4.
She didn't answer that.
She never did.
Instead, she sighed.
"You know how he gets."
Yeah.
I did. Last year, it was a car problem that vanished the next morning. The year before, a panic attack that somehow only existed during my dinner reservation. Always urgent. Always believable enough. Always gone when it was over. "I'll call you later," she added quickly. She hung up before I could respond. I stood there, staring at that gift. And for the first time, I didn't feel disappointed. I felt done. I didn't cry after the call. That was new. Usually I'd sit there, trying to convince myself it wasn't personal. That family meant compromise. That next year would be different. This time, I just moved. I pulled a chair out, sat down, and opened my notes app. A list stared back at me.
Dates.
Reasons. Patterns I'd started tracking months ago, when something in me refused to keep forgetting. Every birthday. Every milestone. Every time I needed them. And always him. Ethan never sounded desperate when he called them. He sounded calm. Controlled. Like he already knew they'd choose him. I used to think it meant he needed them more. Now I knew better. He didn't need them. He just needed me not to have them. I scrolled through the entries. Last Christmas. Ethan locked out emergency. My promotion dinner. Ethan not feeling safe alone. My surgery consult. Ethan needs mom overnight. Every time, they left me mid-sentence, mid-plan, mid-celebration. Every time, I told myself it wasn't intentional. But patterns don't lie. People do. I closed the list and looked around my apartment. Everything I owned. Everything I'd built without them noticing. For years, I waited for them to choose me. That night, I realized something colder. They already had. I didn't call them back. That was the first break in the pattern, and I felt it like a crack under my feet. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just something shifting where it used to feel solid. Instead, I called the restaurant. "Hi, reservation for Saturday," I said, steady. "Party of 6. There was a pause. "Would you like to cancel?" I looked at my reflection in the window. I expected hesitation. Maybe even sadness. I didn't feel either. "No," I said. "Change it to 1. The silence on the other end stretched, then softened into polite confirmation. When I hung up, the apartment felt different. Quieter. Like something had finally stopped asking for permission. I walked to the closet and pulled out my suitcase. Not the big one. Just enough for what mattered.
Clothes.
Documents. A few things that actually felt like mine. I didn't rush. That would have meant doubt. Every movement was deliberate. Measured. Final. Halfway through packing, my phone buzzed again. A text from my father. "Your brother's not doing well. We're going to stay with him a few days. We'll celebrate when we get back." A few days. I stared at the message, then typed back. "Don't rush." I hit send and watched the message settle like a decision I couldn't take back. 3 dots appeared almost instantly. My father typing. Then stopped. Then started again. Nothing came through. That silence said more than any explanation ever had. I set my phone down and finished packing. Each folded shirt felt like a quiet goodbye. Not just to the apartment, but to the version of me that kept waiting at the door. By midnight, everything important fit into one suitcase and a canvas tote. I walked through the room slowly. The couch where I'd cried after canceled dinners. The kitchen where I'd cooked meals no one showed up to eat. The window where I'd stood, watching their car drive past without stopping more times than I wanted to count. It all looked the same. I didn't. My phone buzzed again. This time, a message from my mother. "We're already on the road. Ethan's really upset. We'll make it up to you, sweetheart." Sweetheart. I read it twice, then opened my contacts and tapped her name. My thumb hovered for a second. Then I changed it. From Mom
To just.
Linda. I stared at it, waiting to feel something break. Nothing did. So I picked up my keys, lifted my suitcase, and walked out. The hallway smelled like fresh paint and someone else's dinner. Normal, unbothered. Like the world didn't notice I was leaving everything behind. I locked the door and slid the key into the envelope I'd already labeled for the landlord. No note. No explanation. Just an end. My phone buzzed again as I stepped into the elevator.
Ethan.
I almost laughed. He never called me directly. He didn't need to. He had them for that. For a second, I considered ignoring it. Staying consistent. Staying gone. But something in me wanted to hear it. Not for closure. For confirmation. I answered. Hey, he said, voice calm, steady. No panic. No urgency. Just like I remembered. You're good? I asked. A pause. Then a soft chuckle.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I be? I leaned back against the elevator wall, watching the numbers drop. Mom said you weren't doing well. Another pause. Longer this time. Then, almost amused, she said that. The doors opened to the lobby, and I stepped out slowly. You didn't call them? I asked. No, he said, simple as that. The line went quiet. Everything inside me clicked into place. Happy early birthday, Alara, he added lightly. I ended the call. I stood in the lobby, phone still in my hand, feeling the last illusion dissolve. Not anger, not shock, just clarity. Ethan hadn't needed a reason. They created one for him. I stepped outside into the night air. It was colder than I expected, sharp against my skin, grounding in a way nothing else had been. For years, I blamed him. His timing, his stories, his quiet way of pulling them away from me. But he hadn't asked. Not this time. Maybe not any time. I pulled on my parents' message thread and scrolled. Missed birthdays. Half promises. Apologies that never led to change. Not once had they checked the truth. Not once had they stayed. I opened a new message. I just spoke to Ethan. I typed.
He's fine.
He didn't call you. The typing dots appeared almost instantly. Then stopped. Then started again. I didn't wait. I sent one more. Enjoy your trip. Then I blocked both numbers before the replies could come through. No arguments. No explanations. No space for them to reshape it into something softer. I put my phone away and walked toward my car. For the first time in years, I wasn't being left behind. I was the one leaving. The drive felt longer than it should have. Not because of distance. Because of what I was shedding with every mile. I didn't play music. Didn't call anyone. Just the sound of the engine and my own breathing, steady, like I was learning a rhythm I'd never been allowed to keep. Halfway to the highway, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I let it ring once.
Twice.
Then I answered. Alara? My mother's voice, tight and fragile, like something had cracked open. Why did you block us? I didn't pull over. Didn't slow down. Because you believed something that wasn't true, I said. Again. Silence filled the line, heavy and searching. We didn't know, she whispered.
You didn't check, I replied.
A soft sound, like she was about to cry. I'd heard it my whole life. It used to work. Please don't do this right now, she said. We'll come back. We'll fix it. I tightened my grip on the wheel. You're already gone, I told her. The words landed harder than I expected. She inhaled sharply. We chose your brother because he needed us. I let out a quiet breath. No, I said. Then finally, you chose who is easier to love. She didn't respond right away. For once, there was no quick defense. No soft excuse. Just silence stretching between us, heavy and honest. I kept driving. The highway opened ahead, dark and endless, but it didn't feel empty. It felt clean. Is that what you really think? She asked finally, voice smaller than I'd ever heard it. I thought about every missed moment, every quiet disappointment I swallowed, so they wouldn't feel guilty. Every time I made myself smaller, so they wouldn't have to choose. I don't think it anymore, I said. I know it. Another pause. Then a shaky breath. We can do better, she said. I smiled, but she couldn't see it. That's not my job to wait for, I replied. The exit sign for my new city came into view. A place they didn't know. A place they hadn't shaped. I hope you figure it out, I added. For him. For yourselves. And for you, she asked. I looked ahead, steady and certain. For me, I said, I already did. I ended the call. No anger. No tears. Just something quieter. Peace that didn't need permission anymore.